what I got. Can you see it properly? Okay, wait. Yeah, the New English Bible. So in this, right, I have confessions from the lion pens of scribes, how they have added to and subtracted from the word. So they removed the name of the Father. And they are saying right here in this Bible, basically confessing that they removed the name of the Creator and replaced it with a tetragrammaton, which is YHWH, which were to symbolize the letters for the name of the Creator. Get this. They removed the name of the Father and replaced it with letters YHWH. Let's get into it. So, in the introduction, right? Wait. The introduction. So, here on this page, it's all, I don't think you can see it well either. I'm going to have to screenshot it, okay? So, the introduction. I'm going to read from the top, right? This is this part here that I want to emphasize on that part, right? So the Bible consists of a collection of books which were written over a very long period of time. We all know that already. So in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, the earliest parts of the Old Testament go back more than 3,000 years, while the latest portions of it were written 1,000 years later, some centuries before the New Testament. So the Bible here appears in a new translation, the New English Bible, which, as the preface of this volume explains, it is not a revision of any previous version, but the two basic questions facing. But it was made direct from the original languages into contemporary English. In the Old Testament, the translators have used as the basis for their work the Hebrew text printed in the 1937 edition of R.H. Kittle's Biblia Hebraica. This is the standard printed edition of the Hebrew scriptures regularly used by scholars in all countries, right? It produces the text of a Hebrew manuscript dated AD 1008. Now in Leningrad, which is the earliest complete dated manuscript. Manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible extant. Yes. A new undated manuscript. Where's my head here? A few undated manuscripts of portions of the Old Testament are a century or so older, and there are many fragments that are still older. But until modern times, these were thought to be the oldest manuscripts of the Hebrew Bible in existence and since 1947. However, much older Hebrew manuscripts have been found in caves at Qumran near the Dead Sea. They are commonly called the Dead Sea Scrolls. Reading on, they include 2 copies of Isaiah, parts of all the other books of the Old Testament except Esther. Some of these scrolls are up to 2,000 years old, and so are older, and some are so much older than the Hebrew text on which earlier translations of the Old Testament have been based. So this recently discovered material has been referred to as constantly in preparing the present translation. So at first, Hebrew was written with consonants only, but in course of time, dots and strokes were added to indicate the pronunciation of the vowels. There are no such vowels in the Dead Sea Scrolls, as the system was a later development. In this translation and in most English Bibles, God is frequently referred to as the Lord. This title, when printed thus in capitals, stands for the four Hebrew consonants YHWH, which represent the name of the God of Israel. Are you getting this? This name was considered too sacred to be pronounced. Are you getting this? Real-time confessions here, people. And the expression, my Lord, right? My Lord is like, I think it means master in English. My Lord. So it's an expression, it's a title. So the expression, my Lord, was substituted for it in reading. They're basically saying, oh, we removed his name and we basically replaced it with an expression, a little title called the Lord. So, where was I? Yes. So, along with these consonants, the vowels for my Lord was inserted. The mixture of the vowels of one word which had to be read and the consonants of another which had to be written, but not to be read out, produced the word. They said Jehovah here. They're trying to give the name but not really give the name, because we know that J don't exist in the Hebrew language. This has been used in 6 places in Exodus, where a name for God rather than a title seems more appropriate, and there is a footnote explaining why it occurs. So I'm not going to read any more further into that, because they're basically saying in the introduction of the Bible that, oh, while you're reading this Bible, let us throw it in the introduction, which many of y'all don't read the introductions of books anyways. So we'll just confess in there that we removed the name of the Creator and we replaced his name with the expression, my Lord. Or in your case, the Lord, and tell you that, hey, that's the name of the Creator. Yes. No, it's not. It's an expression. It's a title. So don't sit there and think that they don't know the name of Yah. They know Yahweh's name. They know his name. They have his name all over. You just need to see it. It's on a lot of buildings. A lot of the nations know him by his name and call him by his name. They just removed it because as they said, it was too sacred to be called. I guess it was too sacred to be called by people who probably were not living a righteous life. So if you call on a righteous name, you are going to meet with some problems. So we got to remove the righteous name and replace it with a title. Arg. So don't let them fool you. They know his name and they know the power in his name. That's why they removed his name, because the Bible instructs us to call on his name, honor his name, magnify his name, worship his name, praise his name, exalt his name, go on to the nations and proclaim his name. So how are we to do all these things if you removed his name? We were not told proclaim the title or an expression. We were not told to give worship to an expression. We were not told to proclaim the expression. We were told to proclaim his name, worship his